Now, tonight, as you may or may not have noticed, the Winter Olympics are now underway. Yep, that's right. The hostile regime of the communist Chinese in Beijing. Make no mistake, this is an international disgrace because of its vile communist dictatorship. China is a uniquely, well, awful, terrible place on earth. The vast majority of their 1.4 billion people, they live in abject poverty and squalor. And by the way, they're the lucky ones. China's ethnic minority Muslims, the Uyghurs, they're forced to live in camps where they're used to slave labor, torture, murder happens, and one of China's star tennis players just disappeared after accusing a communist official of rape. Her claims were wiped right off of China's internet. There is no freedom in China. There's no freedom of religion, no freedom of speech, no freedom of thought, no freedom at all. You can be thrown in jail for using the wrong words, believing the wrong things, or sharing the wrong links online. Censorship, that rules the day. And if I were in China, I'd be locked up probably right about now for this monologue. Now, let's not forget, China infected the world with the COVID-19 virus. Then they covered it up, and millions of people worldwide died as a result. We're going to have a lot more on China, the Olympics coming up, but let's be clear. This is a shining real-world example of the left's ideology in practice, authoritarianism, we call it. If Bernie Sanders had his way, this is what the U.S. eventually would look like. This is why we are so adamantly opposed to censorship, cancel culture, boycotts, all the things we discuss often. One of the reasons we criticize fake news CNN is not just because they frequently lie and they spread conspiracy theories and they advance one hoax after another, but also under Jeff Zucker, recently fired, CNN wanted to end Fox News. He hired multiple high-level staffers. Their only purpose was to watch and to track and to stalk people like me and others on Fox News and people on talk radio and get us taken off the air or boycotted and silenced. And because, as Humpty Dumpty once hysterically squealed, our opinions are poison. This all happened while Zucker and his co-worker, girlfriend, coordinated with then Democratic Governor Cuomo. I told you, there's a lot more to this story. Now we're getting it. Anyway, and presumably other Democrats, they wanted to take down Trump. They were trying to build up Andrew Cuomo into a presidential candidate. And I'm sure we're going to be learning even more about this unraveling scandal in the weeks ahead. But it is now official. Fake news CNN, they're imploding. Zucker's gone. The knives are out. And according to reports, fake Jake Tapper referred to Chris Cuomo as a terrorist. Wow. Jim Acosta is openly worrying that CNN will become Fox News Light. Caitlin Collins, apparently, according to reports, had a fit of rage. And get this, the Discovery executive, who's soon going to take over fake news CNN, had this to say about the so-called Facts First network. Take a look.
We have this great entertainment menu, which should keep people in the home, from the kids to the grandparents. Why would they go anywhere else? And then we're the leader in news to the left. And we're now, one of the leaders in sports.
Definitely to the left. Did you say to the left? Man, you weren't kidding. No, that was an aside. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
They're not even the leader of news to the left. That would be MSDNC. Now, Zaslow, his name, it would later issue a clarification and claim he was referring to the left side of the portfolio, not the left side of the political spectrum. Adds a little mystery to it. One of the smartest guys on TV. I don't think that was said by accident. More to come on that. And by the way, why is MSDNC, why have they not covered at all CNN's implosion? Do they have some kind of secret agreement? Because that would be pretty weird for two networks who claim to be journalistic institutions, right? And here's another question. What's going on with poor Humpty Dumpty? He and his assistant, I don't know, some guy named Oliver, whose grand ambition in life is to be Humpty, they continue to heap their praise on their former boss, writing a glowing tribute to Zucker. Sounds like they're putting all their chips in the Zucker basket, maybe anticipating they won't be there long. Maybe Humpty knows his days are numbered. Maybe he's trying to hop onto the Zucker bandwagon and see where he lands next. Humpty, for once, might be actually right. Meanwhile, another guy who loves censorship, Mark Zuckerberg, is also facing severe consequences after a terrible earnings report and Facebook's record drop in the stock market. Wow, Zuckerberg's net worth just plummeted by $31 billion. By the way, his entire company, I think it was $250 billion. Now, keep in mind, Facebook has been hemorrhaging traffic ever since Zuckerberg decided to meddle in the 2020 presidential election. Remember, he was also responsible for censoring a very true and damaging report about Joe and Hunter Biden in the days leading up to the election. Maybe Zuckerberg could be more worried about creating a usable platform, less worried about the political opinions of Americans who are not from Silicon Valley and don't share his radical left-wing views. Remember, it wasn't that long ago that actual liberals promoted transparency. They so-called hated censorship. Still, they existed inside the Democratic Party. Now, with cancel culture, dark money rules the day among the radical left. In fact, one Schumer-aligned group just raised $100 million from unidentified donors.